Hello and welcome to Research Matters podcast. Today I, Aishwarya Viswamitra, will give you a summary of science stories that were published during the week on Research Matters. In your weekly dose of Indian science news today, I cover stories on nutrition, water, soil, and even about visiting the mall. We live in a nutritionally imbalanced world with an equal number of obese and undernourished people. Modern-day food production has not been able to address our nutrition woes and has also deteriorated the health of the planet. Did you know that agriculture alone accounts for a whopping 23% of the emission of greenhouse gases? Besides, it contributes significantly to water pollution and negatively impacts biodiversity. From the Atkins diet to the keto diet, diet fads are not new to us. Every year, nay, every month, a new diet comes to our attention, all advertising their positive effects on our health. But what about the health of our planet? Earlier this year, the Eat Lancet Commission proposed a reference diet that not only promoted health benefits for humans, but considered its impact on the earth. This diet is rich in fruits and vegetables, with proteins and fats sourced mostly from plant-based sources. It is estimated that this diet would cater to 10 billion people by 2050 and also restrict global warming, soil degradation, and the loss of biodiversity. Sounds great, doesn't it? But there's a big problem. On an average, it costs $2.84 as of 2011 and is out of reach for about 1.6 billion people around the world. A new study led by researchers from Tufts University, Boston, USA, found that the diet exceeded the total household income per person for about 40% of people in South Asia and about 60% in sub-Saharan Africa. In South Asia, among the food categories, fruits and vegetables were the most expensive constituent of the diet, followed by meat, eggs, and fish, and then legumes and nuts. The study also found that, on average, the food items in the reference diet were 60% more expensive than foods needed to address nutritional needs. Many of these still came from plant-based sources. While the world must switch to a healthy, planet-friendly diet, it also needs to be pocket-friendly for all. The research calls for changes in global food systems to produce more farm produce at lower prices and supplementing farmers with greater non-farm earnings and social safety nets to make the transition a win-win situation for people and the planet. While we are on agricultural practices, did you know that agriculture uses 80% of the usable water in India? However, almost half of it is wasted due to inefficient irrigation systems. Plants get nutrition from the nutrients dissolved in the soil moisture, and they grow best in soil that has just the right level of moisture. To keep this balance, farmers need to check moisture levels in their fields regularly, a tedious task indeed. Currently, there are moisture sensors in the market that work based on the change in soil properties due to the moisture content. However, they are not accurate at varying temperatures and cost tens of thousands of rupees. Now, researchers from the Indian Institute of Technology Bombay and Gauhati University have designed a robust, accurate, and affordable soil moisture sensor using graphene oxide. The readings from this sensor is neither affected by changes in the temperature nor the salt content of the soil. It is also stable and gives a consistent measurement over a long time. When mass-produced, these sensors could cost just about 2,000 rupees apiece, way less than the previous tens of thousands. Isn't that quite a breakthrough innovation for India's agriculturists? The researchers are now busy conducting extensive field tests and improving the packaging of these sensors to get them ready for commercialization. Continuing with soil, soil is a storehouse of all nutrients that plants need for growth. Did you know who contributes the most to turn these nutrients in the soil? Termites. Yes, those tiny ant-like insects that you find in the garden. They decompose tough plant fibers and recycle nutrients back into the soil. India has about 295 species of termites known so far, and a recent study has added 2 new species to the list. They are called Krishna Capritermis Dineshan and Krishna Capritermis Manikandan. Sounds a little familiar? That's because these 2 new species are named after Sri K.A. Dineshan and Sri Manikandan Nair of the Zoological Survey of India, Kozhikode, who collected the samples from the field and contributed greatly to the entire faunal survey. The study used DNA barcoding to identify the DNA sequences of the new species of termites and compared them with other species of the same genus to understand their evolutionary history. While the researchers are yet to find out more details on the range and behavior of these two termite species, they speculate that many others in the Western Ghats may be still awaiting scientific documentation. Let's shift gears from talking about soil and agriculture to looking at the country's export and import of agricultural and livestock products. In this context, have you heard of virtual water? Virtual water is the water required for the production of goods. Crops, textiles, machinery, and livestock all require water for their production. When countries export or import products that are produced using water at any stage, they trade in virtual water. India, owing to its excessive agricultural exports, loses water and puts water sustainability in the long run at risk. For example, when a water-intensive crop like rice is exported, a large volume of virtual water is lost. In fact, rice has been the highest exported food produce in the country between 2006 and 2016. Since a kilogram of paddy requires about 15,000 liters of water to grow, farmers often rely on groundwater for rice cultivation, further adding to water woes in a country that is already water-stressed. Buffalo meat, the second highest exported product, needs about 5 to 20 times more water than that is used for agricultural production. A recent study by researchers at Anna University, Chennai, quantified the volume of virtual water trade in India and found that between 2006 and 2016, India exported virtual water amounting to 496.98 billion liters and imported 237.21 billion liters. More virtual water was exported than imported. Virtual water trade is globally relevant considering countries around the world are grappling with the consequences of climate change. Overexploitation of water for the increased production of crops like rice and wheat to cater to exports contribute to an increase in the trade of virtual water and a decrease in India's natural water resources. Should we rethink our exports? Perhaps. The researchers suggest looking at using water-efficient varieties of crops and growing practices that uses water sustainably. It's the weekend, and many of us in cities enjoy going to the mall. One of the dreaded things about this trip these days is getting stuck in the traffic around the shopping malls. With so many people coming in, some insights on how people go to the mall could help build efficient transport systems, right? That's what a recent study by researchers at the Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, Mumbai did. It surveyed 650 visitors in 5 shopping malls across Mumbai to find out how they get to the mall and for what purpose they go. Their analysis found that almost half of the visitors who came to shopping malls came there for reasons apart from shopping. Surprised? These days, malls offer a variety of entertaining options like movies, video game arenas, and the likes. Almost 40% of those who did visit the malls for shopping went in cars, indicating that affluent shoppers own a car and prefer using it. Most of those who were there for leisure purposes prefer to walk to the mall. The use of public transport was highest among employees in these shopping malls, for whom it was just a work trip. But the visitors at large depended on other modes of transport, as a majority of them found public transport not very convenient. The age of the visitors had a significant say in transport choices too. Those above 55 years mostly used cars to travel to malls, and those between 18 and 30 years, who tend to be physically active, chose two-wheelers or public transport. Youngsters below 18 years used auto rickshaws and cars. The findings of the study, the researchers believe, will help authorities meet the traffic and transport-related needs around shopping malls. Are these authorities listening? Thank you for listening to this episode of Research Matters podcast. See you next weekend. For more such podcasts and news, please log on to www.researchmatters.in.